Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. You bought some new stuff, new toys?
We got the Amazon. It's over here on the blue tractor, which we don't know if the blue tractor can actually use it or not.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. We also sold the potato harvester just because it was costing maintenance money and we're not using it right now. So
We got a second baler too.
oh, thank God.
So we actually probably do need to buy another tractor so we can. Well, yeah, we probably do need to buy another tractor because then we can use this blue one here as the second baler. Yeah, let's go ahead and buy the other tractor.
Okay, we have enough money for it. So
All right, I'm gonna do it.
are you gonna upgrade the engine?
We should. Oh, I don't know if
Do
we
we have
should.
enough money?
I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
Do you want to hear about an interesting call I went on this morning at the fire station?
I do.
So 6 o'clock, tones go off. My alarm was about to go off, so it was like, whatever, no big deal. For a call for smoke in the area. So we get those a lot. Somebody calls in like, "Oh, I think I see smoke over there." So it's a very small response if there's no like actual flames or indication that there's actually a fire really happening. They'll send just one engine out to go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So we get this dispatch to an intersection in our first due area. So we're driving there, and I'm reading the comments on the they call it the MDC, and it says, it's a first party caller who's there on scene, says see smoke outside. So say, okay, this could be legitimate. Could be that they saw fog in the morning. You get a lot of calls that somebody sees fog and they think it's smoke, or somebody
Really?
sees. Yeah, it happens a lot, actually. Somebody sees smoke coming out of somebody's chimney, but they don't really realize it's coming from the chimney, so they'll call it in as, like, they see smoke at their neighbor's house or something like that. So go check it out. So get out there. We drive. We get to this intersection. It's in the back of the, like, residential area. And I'm looking around, and my driver and I are looking. The guy in the back seat, we're looking. I'm like, yeah, see anything? And they said, no. So I called back in, and I said, hey, can you call back whoever it was that called, because we don't see any smoke in the area and there's no person here either. And the comments had said it was somebody was on scene. So they said, oh yeah, they actually just called back. A woman said her husband dropped a computer, so she thought there was smoke outside. So you guys can be canceled.
What?
It's just like,
What does that even mean?
It said, oh, okay, engine 705 is available on radio, which means like we're off the call. We're, if dispatch us, we're out on the road right now because we were on the call. But then I looked at my driver and I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Right?
Somebody dropped their computer? So they legitimately, woman says husband dropped his computer, so she thought there was smoke outside. How are
so
these related events?
Right. That's so confusing.
What who? Like,
Wow.
I was so utterly confused. But I mean, what are you gonna do? It's the calls that we go on. I've never been so baffled on a call that I went on in my entire life, though.
So you'll never know, though. That's the sad part.
I will never have any idea.
It's like the fucking hiccup shit all over again.
Yeah, pretty much. Except this one I'm also in the dark on and kind of care. Whereas the hiccup one, I was like, yeah, whatever. You guys get.
You're a weirdo.
Yeah, I've definitely never thought of a computer somehow making me, oh my god, this tractor is so slow with this thing.
Does it even work?
I didn't even turn it on. I just unfolded it to see, and it is extremely slow.
We did not have enough money. I'm selling off a tipper load of stuff here real quick.
Let me see what happens if I'm sadly not lined up right either. I'm just off to the side.
That's gonna get us there.
Yeah, I've definitely gone on some strange calls in my day, but that was
So strange.
that was one of them. I've gone on some very strange EMS calls before, whereas things just walking into a scene that you're like, what the hell actually happened here? There's once I went to a call, a guy who had just gotten checked off on his charge status. And I was one of the people checking him off. And charge status means like you have to ride with somebody as your evaluator, basically, and get so many evaluated calls to be cleared to ride as the charge aid. Yeah, this isn't even going to work. We need the other tractor.
Yeah, I bought it.
Yeah, it's too. It was going like a mile an hour trying to drag this thing. So this blue tractor will go somewhere else now.
That can be a baler.
Yeah, this can be a good baler. Where's the other balers at? Is one still at the town?
No, they're both there somewhere.
I see one of them, and he had literally just finished all his calls and evaluated to be in charge. And we had a full crew at the time. I don't even think I was a firefighter yet. I was only an EMT, and so I was in the back as the backup, as the third, letting him like have his first call. And we started driving at this call, and it was for an injured person after a fall, which is a pretty standard call. And as we're driving there, you'll get updates on your computer that's in the unit that tells you if there's new information that comes through. And something updated in the computer, and you can hear it in the back. It used to go like when like an update came through it. So I heard the sound, and I was like, "Yo, Tim, what's the update?" And he said, possibly multiple parties involved was like one of the updates. And I was like, well, that's interesting. I wonder what this like injured person from a fall happens to be. And then about 30 seconds later, like we're getting close to the scene, he goes, and I was like, okay, what's that update now? And he goes, fall possibly from greater than 30 feet. And he
Jesus Christ.
He looks back to the little window that separates the front of the ambulance from the back of the ambulance. He goes, what the fuck am I getting into for my first call? and we go there, and this was the strangest thing in the world, but it was this woman laying on the ground outside of her apartment building on like the lower patio on the cement. And she was like, oh, no, guys, I'm fine. And we're like, as we roll up, and we're like, you're fine. Like, why are you laying on the ground then if you're fine? And she's like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm here. And we're like, what? Which apartment is yours? And we're expecting her to point to the one that the patio she's laying on. She points at the one 2 floors up. And we're like, did you fall off of your balcony? And she's like, no, I didn't fall off my balcony. We're like, oh, okay. And we start doing like a trauma assessment, and her hip is like flailing and her leg is kind of like twisted. So as we start doing the assessment more, you realize that her leg is broken in multiple places. And she's just kind of sitting there, not in pain. And this woman was probably like in her 40s or 50s. So she wasn't young, but she wasn't old. Like, is what?
Was she in shock?
We don't know at this point. She looked really like she'd been around the block. Let's put it that way. She looked pretty worn for her like 40 or 50-year-old self. And we're like, what happened then? And she's like, oh, I was just walking through the parking lot and I tripped on something and fell here. The whole thing was so confusing. A fire engine pulls up on the scene, or they were there already, and they were so confused as well. And they're like, dude, something is wrong with this situation. Like, so the police ended up getting on the unit with us, which was our first indication that, okay, something's a little bit more than like what's going on here. Apparently what we ended up finding out is this woman and her boyfriend constantly get in fights. They're really heavy drug users. They've come over there for domestic disturbance calls a lot. They got in a fight. He hit her in the head with a hammer and pushed her off of the 3rd floor balcony.
Oh my God.
And she still wanted to, like, no, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, nope, I was walking through the parking lot, minding my own business, and just tripped and fell. Like, that's all that happened. Nothing to see here.
Wow.
Type of deal, which was, but the fact that she wasn't in any pain, she was obviously, like, on something.
Right.
But that call was one of the most off the wall, like, what the hell did we get into type of situations.
So the multiple people involved was dude with hammer then.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was him, but he wasn't on the scene. He was gone.
Right.
So I think a neighbor had called it in too, and that's why we were getting these sporadic dispatches, but that's why the police were there as well. Like, it all kind of came together afterwards, but it's kind of unsafe in those situations that
right.
you don't really know what you're walking into, because they will dispatch calls that scene is not secure. Wait for the police. And you stage somewhere and wait until they tell you the scene is secure for the EMS personnel to come into. This was not one of them. I also went on another one in the middle of the, at one point, where it was an injured person after a fall again, but this was like in a house somewhere, a very, very, very like fancy, nice house too, probably like a $3 million like mansion type of deal. When we walk in and this dude is laying on the bottom of the stairs, not breathing well, we had to put in like a thing to help him breathe, like an OPA, so that he could actually get air because he was sat really low. But we're not exactly sure what happened, but he ended up, turns out he fell down the stairs. He was wasted. This dude was in his like 60s or 70s, like older guy. And him and his wife were both just like hammered when we got there. And we're pretty confident that there was a dispute between the husband and wife, and she pushed him down the stairs. That was quite an interesting call. But yeah, I definitely never had a laptop involved in an outside fire.
It's so weird. I'd love to know more.
I would also love to know. I just want to like call that lady and be like, just please explain it to me. Maybe there's some type of logical explanation. Maybe he was smoking a cigarette and dropped his laptop, and it woke her up out of a sleep to where she looked over and saw the smoke from his cigarette rising by the window. Maybe. I'm trying to like fathom any possible way that this laptop is somehow involved with her seeing smoke outside.
Right.
Enough to want to call and then if your husband dropped a laptop and you thought there was smoke outside, how did you dial 911 and get a dispatch before there was figured out that it was this laptop that fell down? Yeah. It's all very weird. Like I just don't get it. Oh, we have too many people hired right now. Yeah.
I should really up the number of people on the server so we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, there's this. What do we got going? Yeah, this guy's about to finish, then we can start cultivating the one field, so we should be okay. Oh, are you you playing the Powerball?
No. Is it worth a lot?
It's worth like 400 and some odd million.
Is that in my state?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to the lottery that happens in your state.
So it's in DC. The Powerball is worth 400.
Oh no, the Powerball. If your state participates in Powerball, it's all the same.
Oh, is it?
But I'm not sure every state actually participates. I think most of them do. I mean, I remember back in the day, it used to be like Powerball had certain states and Mega Millions had certain states. And it wasn't until like long after they were both implemented that they started merging. Some states started picking up both, and then they really started expanding. Like Michigan was a Mega Millions only state. We didn't do Powerball. Now they do both. DC has done both ever since I moved here, but I don't know when they actually started doing both.
So do you play the lottery?
I only when it gets big, and not. It's funny because the $12 million I think is what the 12 or 15 is what the starting jackpot is. I would be completely content and happy with winning $15 million. It's not like I need to wait till it's big before I quote unquote waste my money on the lottery. You have just the same odds of winning.
You probably have less odds actually.
You have less odds of getting a full jackpot.
Right, yeah, because your odds don't really change.
Yeah, your odds of winning are the same. It's just you might be splitting it with more people if more people are playing. Is what it comes down to. But I mean, so I play the lottery sometimes. And for a while, I used to go buy a ticket like every week. I would buy a ticket at some point. Just why not? In my opinion, I waste more than $5 or $10 or $20 a week on stupid frivolous shit anyway. Why not make it something that potentially would pay off in the end?
Right.
I don't know. But so I did buy tickets for, the big Powerball and the big Mega Millions that was last week as well. But that one went, and it wasn't me that won it, which is unfortunate.
Was it not?
It was not. I know. It's sad. I really thought it was going to be me.
I felt good.
Sure it was gonna. But I'll tell you, I don't necessarily trust the lottery.
You don't trust the lottery. Now, I know you have an aversion to gambling or trust issue, but the lottery.
I don't have an aversion to gambling, but I do have a trust issue with them.
So you don't trust the lottery either?
So, well, it's all the same. It's all run by the gaming commission, right? All it's run by the same people.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure all the Maryland Gaming Commission runs the Maryland Lottery as well as runs casinos. I think. I could be wrong. I don't really know.
Yeah,
but it's always been this thing that's just been put into place. That there's this gaming commission that's behind. Who's checking on the gaming commission? The gaming commission regulates all the stuff. Who's checking on them? Is it something that I, as a citizen, can go and just be like, excuse me, I'd like to ensure what you're claiming is legit for myself as a paying customer? Am I allowed to do that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I could be wrong. Maybe you can. Maybe you just got to put in a request and you can do it. But anything that, as a computer guy, anything that's electronic can be rigged.
Right.
And I think you could easily rig it. And even casinos themselves are already problematic with any of your electronic, your slot machines and stuff. Because when there's set payouts that you're allowed to set up a machine that this machine, the house will win 51% of the winnings or whatever and pay out 49%, whatever the split is. The house will always win on a slot machine.
Right.
It will run its course, and it's just like buying a roll of the scratch-off lottery tickets. In a set print of lottery tickets, there's odds because they know, according to the Gaming Commission, there is X number of, the big prize winners, X number of the secondary prize winners, and the payout is always going to be that the lottery wins money. Right. And I kind of somewhat have a problem with those when you're looking at the electronic versions, because there is no guarantee of I can force this machine, or it's like a slot machine. Let's take it that. How can you be a regulated machine when you basically force the machine it's going to have to pay out every so often? That means it's not random draws, right?
Well, it is.
If I pull the little crank and I randomly don't get the 3 bars, at some point it's got to pay out the 3 bars to make sure it's within that percentage payoff that it's required to have.
Right, but you can have the, but it could happen twice in a row. Basically, is what I'm saying. Like it doesn't
I
now
don't think
you
they regulate those machines to be every spin has this many percentage of winning. I think it's over a cycle of spins it will pay off X number of dollars.
Right.
And if that's the case, that means it can't be a random spin, because at some point the machine has to kick in and say, I have to either not pay out or I have to pay out to be on track with the target that the Gaming Commission has said I have to be at.
Yeah, I don't actually know how it all works. I don't actually know. I don't.
But then you deal with something like Mega Millions and or that type of lottery, and there's an odds of winning, but that's completely based on probability of random number selection. It could go years without a winner, in theory.
Right. God, can you imagine how big it would get?
They know immediately if you've won, because there's an electronic log of every single ticket sold and what those numbers were. How can you not program those machines to force payouts for certain numbers to come up that either didn't get drawn, or maybe that you because you buddy's got that ticket, or something like that?
Well, I mean, isn't it little balls?
I mean, yeah, I think. I don't even know. There was the guy who ran, was it Powerball or Mega Millions, or was it one of the other lottery things? His 3 of his close friends won in relatively close succession. It was the commissioner for the federal commissioner for one of these big games. And he's in jail for fraud right now because they were frauding the machines and they weren't legitimate. They were making it so that the people he knew with the tickets and stuff won.
Well, I guess I think it's gotten. I think people like him are why it's become more hardcore, the regulation. Because I do remember that. I felt like it kind of changed after that too.
But wasn't that even not long ago? Wasn't that only in 2008?
Yeah, it's about like that, somewhere around there.
But so every game I played before 2008, should there be a class action lawsuit that I can get my money back?
I mean, there probably could be. I mean, we'll think about the whole McDonald's Monopoly games. All of
Yeah,
those were rigged for years.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up. And the crazy thing about that is that like McDonald's as a company had no idea because it all had to do with the third party,
Yeah.
the third party carpet installer that wouldn't move furniture. Yeah, it had to do with the third party printing company or whatever that that screwed all that up. But yeah, that's I have such a hard time trusting anything like that. I mean, think the electronic voting ballots. If you can rig the lottery, you're gonna rig an election. Like the ability exists. You have the WannaCry virus that went and took out how many computers and fucked with all the banking industries like across Europe.
I didn't know about this.
I mean, the WannaCry virus that hit like 3 months ago and took out like 300,000 computers in Europe. And
really,
it's basically the same virus, but just a different variant of it that got hit my facility.
Right.
And a year and a half ago.
I guess I do vaguely remember this. Now that you're saying it again, actually.
Yeah, but those things, I mean, I don't even trust, and it's so funny because I'm not a not trusting person and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's just, I think it's knowing the industry and how they work. When I'm at a gas pump, or anything for that matter, this is just the most frequent example, and you pay with your card at the pump, and it says, do you want a receipt? I will hit the yes button every time.
You told me about this too.
Yeah, just because I don't want them to have a record that I don't have a record of what I just did.
That's the funniest thing to me. Of everything you've said, I can be okay with everything you've said until we hit that point, and that's the point
really?
where I'm
I think
just
that's
like
I think
crazy.
that's the scarier one. If you can prove that somebody doesn't have a record of the transaction, you can do whatever the hell you want to do with that. Like, look at the whole, and this is what I don't get either, the whole chip and card thing now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we had that regulation that everything was to be, you know, put in with the chip, and all the restaurants and businesses are supposed to take the chip. And there's some weird thing that if you don't take the chip, you're basically accepting responsibility that if something is wrong with that transaction, like as the business, because you're not meeting the federal requirements that were mandated for you to do. I still go to places that don't have the chip and pin reader.
Yeah.
You have to swipe your card. And I'm like, does this make me? Could I turn around every time I did that? And granted, I'm going to do this because this would be like wrong, but could I turn around and be like, I didn't make that transaction? And would their result be, oh, there's not a chip and pin, so I guess you have to pay them back?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But
well, you know what's so
why
weird
was
about
that?
the whole chip and pin thing is we're trying to mimic what goes on in Europe with those type of transactions, but we did it half-assed. Like the whole chip and pin thing just isn't done right. Like,
What do you mean it's not done right?
well, like in Europe, you've done the whole chip and pin stuff in Europe, where you have to, where they can't touch your card. You have to enter your pin number.
Oh, how they bring the little thing out to your table.
Right. So far for me, I've never entered a pin with my chip. I put my chip in and I select credit, just like as if I'd swipe my card. I've never entered a pin number.
When I was in Europe, I didn't enter a pin ever either.
Well, it's because you didn't have a chip.
No, I had the chip.
Oh, well, I guess it's because your shit's not implemented because we did a half-assed job.
Yeah, that's probably that's probably right. Oh God, I just spun this tree around by trying to drive over it. Thought it would go away. I mean, do we have more implementation that we doing that stuff?
Well, yeah, like the whole pin factor should be part of it. Like, it's no more secure than a swipe right now, basically.
Oh, absolutely not, and it's much slower.
You're right.
I actually hate the chip places because it takes so much longer for the card to go through. I guess it's more secure though because it's harder to copy that than the magnetic strip. I guess I've never looked into, but I really want to, the technology behind magnetic strips and RFID, because like my badge for work is RFID. Can I just go buy an RFID programmer off of eBay and then program my chip to get me into any door I want to?
Probably.
I'm sure there's security involved in those things, and I just don't know anything about the security involved with RFID. And it kind of intrigues me. I think it's like the direction that things are going to go with, like, I bet there'll be implants, RFID implants at some point.
Well, there should be. And I think the people that are afraid of these, I've argued about this for a million videos, but the people that are afraid of this are stupid. They don't realize that they're walking around filled with RFID chips already. Their fucking credit cards and their keys. They're like, oh, I don't want people to track me. You're already walking around with a million RFID things.
Yeah, I would love it if you had to implant a chip in my arm, and if I can walk around without any identification, because you can just be like, oh, that's who you are.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I'm totally down.
I think it would help lower crimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's some people that are worried about this. Like, I mean, I've heard arguments too. Like, I couldn't buy my illegal drugs because all your currency would end up going through your RFID, and I can't pay my pot dealer with my RFID.
Well, you just gotta set up a fake business. I mean, come on, get your head straight.
Yeah, that's true too. That would work. That would actually work really well.
Yeah, you'd think it would. It's got to be funneled through somewhere. You know, it's like you don't just say, "Oh, I'm going to start my business. It's going to be called Drugs R Us." You know, you call it, Mel's Cleaning Service or whatever, or you call it like third-party carpet installer. You just go to people's houses, tell them you won't do the job, and you leave. Apparently, that's acceptable, right? They don't have to know what happened inside that house, that there were other transactions that took place.
You gonna bail with me? We're gonna be Bell Brothers.
Oh, we can be Bell Brothers. Hold on, where's the other bailiff? I didn't know we were waiting for another round of.
I mean, we could, but like, there's still stuff planting and stuff. So I was like, screw it, we'll bail.
I tried to hire a worker on accident. Where's my there? Oh, this is gonna make things go so much smoother. It's so sad to see how little money we have again, but we just had so much and so quickly.
Yeah, we spent a lot real quick, like.
Yep, that's the way this game works.
Just gotta play 8 hours a day. You kind of have done.
Yeah, I guess in a way. If I just let it run and while I was doing other work, and then turn around and made some people bale some fields.
So I got us a new color, so we can like do a race off, so you can get the most bells in the field.
Oh shit, that's gonna be what's this new color? Pink.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming up on Breast Cancer Awareness Month soon.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. How much money do you think goes?
They raise for breast cancer?
Yeah, what goes through those ribbons actually goes to actually help things. I haven't really done any research into this, so you might know.
I don't know. I have no idea. I've never done research into that either. Sweet. I know I get to wear a pink shirt at the fire station during that month. Oh man, I just realized I left a hat there. I'm never gonna see that hat again. It was a brand new hat.
Does things disappear like that really quickly?
They can, especially the brand new one. Somebody will pick it up and be like, "Ah, nobody's."
God, your state is just filled with theft.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I don't wear baseball caps very often either, but they give out like one. They got this new shipment in, so every member gets one. So I got mine yesterday because they were handing them out, and I left it there because I forgot about it.
What you gotta do is find someone else's that left theirs there, and you still.
I mean, I'll probably go next week. There'll probably be like 4 of them sitting around in our kitchen, and that's where I left mine. So I'll just grab one of those. I mean, really, one of them is mine somewhere. I did have somebody though, and I was a little upset about this. They were gone for like a month and a half, and then a USB charger, like stupid things, like a USB charger of mine went missing from the station one day while I was there. So I wrote an email to all the members saying, hey, look, stupid little things are coming up missing. It's not the monetary value, but to respect other people's property. Don't just take something because you need it if it's not yours. I said, USB charger gone. Very easily somebody could have taken that on accident thinking it was theirs, not maliciously. I was like, but then I did lose my sunglasses a couple weeks ago. Pretty clearly nobody would have mistaken them for their own because they're bright green. I
was about to say, you have the ugliest
yellow.
sunglasses, so they're
they are the most beautiful sunglasses. And of course the next day I went to the station, those glasses made it back into my hands.
Were they just sitting around, or did someone actually give them to you?
No, somebody had. I think they were sitting around for a couple days, and because I had left them there on accident. Or I couldn't find them one day. I think they had gotten moved when we were cleaning some stuff. So again, I don't think it was malicious, but I think they got put in like a cubby hole in the corner. Somebody saw them a few days later and was like, "Oh, these obviously nobody's using these, so I'm just going to use them since I'm there." Problem is, I'm only there 1 day a week, so if I leave something there 1 day, I'm not going to be back for 7 days to collect them. So if it's been there for 4 days, 3 days before I'm going to be back at the station too.
Right.
But somebody gave them back, and it was funny because it was somebody that sees me all the time wearing them, and I was just kind of like, so I understand you didn't think anybody was using them and you needed sunglasses 1 day, but how did you not realize these were mine?
Right. you know these are mine.
Yeah, it's nobody else wears them. Everybody has commented on the look of them. Like, you know they belong to me.
What'd he say?
G was just really embarrassed.
I'm a thief. I can't help it. Sometimes I walk down the street and I see carts and I just take them.
But at the same time, it takes he could have easily not ever shown them to anybody again and never worn them there, but he did admit to it, and could admit to it straight to me. It's not even like he tried to like sneak them back to me under the table, like through other channels. He like admitted it straight to me that he had taken them. This is why he didn't realize they were mine, he said. But you know, so it's like, hey, you know what? They came back to me. It takes a big person to admit that they did something like that. You know, whatever. I'm just happy to have them back.
You ever take anyone else's food from the refrigerator?
Define. Have I been at somebody's house before? And
No, I mean like at
eaten
work.
something?
You're at work and like.
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I
Have
did
you?
once. Yeah, I was working third shift and I forgot to bring any food, and I was so fucking hungry. And I was the only person in the building, and I just like ate all the food in the refrigerator. I don't know what I remember. There was grits and there was honey, and like I had ate like I found those in the
grits and honey to work.
They were like in the cabinet, and I ate those, and I was still very hungry, and so I remember.
Oh, you're talking like dry food.
Well, no, I remember finally going into the refrigerator and taking someone's sandwich and eating it because I was like, the grits and honey aren't doing it. So hungry, and so I ate someone's like leftover Subway. That's only happened once.
Did you leave a note or anything?
No, I didn't do
anything.
I just ate that shit.
It was a completely like pretend this didn't happen.
Yeah, no, we didn't talk about it. No one knows.
I have found it funny before that I have had my own food stolen before from the fridge at work, and which gets really annoying, especially when you have like 30 minutes to eat between like doing stuff for patients, and all of a sudden you don't have your food anymore. But I remember one day my food was gone, and a couple people on the night shift, they were kind of upset that my food had gotten taken because they were concerned that like, hey, if our fridge isn't safe, like what is safe? So they were like ripping through the fridge looking to see if it just got misplaced or pushed back somewhere. We tore through everything because the fridge wasn't that full that day. We tore through everything looking for it and could not find it anywhere. And I shit you not, 2 weeks later, somehow it was in the fridge, and like of course like now shitty and like smelling because it'd been, you know, somewhere for 2 weeks, somehow made its way back to the fridge from wherever it went to, and was
That's weird.
Yeah, so it's not like somebody took it and ate it. Somehow it got misplaced and then came back at some point later.
Do you think basically one of the people that was a part of the search had actually like, well, no, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm more thinking that sometimes the units will share fridges. People will just come up to a unit and put stuff in their fridge if the fridge on their unit's like broken or something. And so that happens. Like the unit across the hall for a while, their fridge didn't work, so they used to store stuff in our fridge. You know, I'm wondering if somebody came over to like grab their lunch, grabbed the wrong lunch. Mm-hmm. In the interim, we did this whole search thing. Couldn't find it, and then they came over to replace the lunch because they realized it wasn't theirs.
Right.
Or somebody was just being an asshole and was like, I'm gonna steal this fucking food and I'll put it back later so he looks like an asshole. Like, I don't know.
The ultimate prank.
I didn't piss many of my colleagues off working clinically on the floors. It's happened once or twice, but not very often. I was relatively likable. In the nursing field, people also like to use, and this is a weird sexist thing to say, but people often like to keep the guys on their good side because we're the people that will go help them do their patient lifts and turns and all that stuff that requires, you know, quote unquote manpower.
Mhm.
Even when there's extremely capable and stronger than me women on the unit, for some reason, especially the more veteran nurses, don't understand that women can also be strong. And they will look at like me over the strong person next to them and be like, Jeff, can you come help me with this? I'm like, really? The person who's working with you today is 10 times bigger biceps than I do.
Maybe they're worried a fire might break out.
It's, I guess it's possible in the patient's room. In case the patient catches on fire, we want to have all our bases covered. Okay. Yeah, some strange situations. Can't believe you ate somebody's sandwich. What kind of sandwich was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I do remember thinking that it wasn't very good. That's all I remember. I remember thinking I would not get this kind of sandwich, but I don't remember what it was.
But right now it tastes delicious.
I had eaten so many grits and honey.
Grits and honey. It's just such.
That's all there was.
How long were your shifts?
Like 8 hours.
Okay, so
I wasn't gonna die. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was, you know, I couldn't like get delivery or anything because everything's closed, and I was just so hungry.
I couldn't just ask somebody who called up for tech support to drive you over.
Please
Be like,
bring
I'll
me
do
food.
this. I'll do this for free, man. Just bring me some food.
Well, it's already free.
Oh, it was free tech support?
Well, yeah, it was just for an ISP.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah. That time of night, everyone that calls is fucking drunk too.
My internet not working.
I used to,
Did you get calls like that were... I mean, obviously you're going to get the calls of something like stupid that somebody just doesn't know any better, but I mean, ridiculous, off-the-wall calls.
oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, most of the time people were fucking drunk that time of night. And the worst part is that it was dial-up, so this is back before, you know, cable or anything like that. So you can only do so much troubleshooting unless they have 2 phone lines. You do all the troubleshooting and then you hang up, and then you wait for them to call back because you know they're going to call back when it doesn't work. And so it's just all this like trying these things and then hanging up and then getting the same person to call you right back a few minutes later. There were several times where drunk ladies would call that at late at night, and those are always fun because they would they would want more than tech support.
See, and that's so funny because that's clearly by social standards, one would think that drunk guys that call and get a hold of ladies would. You don't think about it that when, like, if a drunk lady calls tech support, she's gonna be like all flirtatious.
There was this guy, his name was Ryan, and he actually met like 2 ladies from there the next day one time. He would like hang out, we would play MUDs together, you know, like multi-user dungeon, text-based, whatever. And so he was hanging out after work, and he took one of the calls, and next thing I know, he's meeting up with 2 ladies the next day.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Were they hot?
Not really. There was a lot of pictures. They were on our website at the time, the 3rd shift.
Did they know that?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they did know that.
They did. They were all into this whole thing. This guy, Brandon, went with them to take the pictures.
I guess it is kind of funny because back then, during the dial-up days, most people didn't have their own website, so even though anybody could still really do it, just having your own picture up on the website, you felt like a celebrity.
Right.
Even though nobody was going to the said websites to look you up.
Yeah. Special times.
I remember, God, what was their... what did they call them when you would make a website based on a certain topic and you would get added into their like those topics had little groups, and if you accepted into those groups they would pop up on the bottom of the page and you could like go to the next website in the like category, hit a random button and go to a random website.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. What was that called? I don't remember. You remember GeoCities?
Yeah, I mean, I think it might have stemmed from GeoCities, but it wasn't limited to GeoCities pages. But it was, I remember I started, like, I was really big into the Barbaric ladies back when I was just starting in the internet, I guess it would be. And by the way, this is long before they were popular in the United States, but That
Not a
being said-
hipster or anything.
yeah, but that being said, I started like one of the first web pages I wrote, and it was more to find out like I wanted to understand how to code web pages. It was back in the like just doing HTML tagging is like all I was doing. And I put some pictures on there of like the Bare Naked Ladies thing, and it was I think it was just like listed the albums in their songs, and I got asked to be like part of one of the Bare Naked Ladies circles thingies. God, what the hell was that called? So I felt all like proud of myself, like I just made really
got into
amazing at all.
into the loop.
Like, yeah, it's like I made it to the big time, guys. I'm a big shot website producer now.
Yeah, my website had Bare Naked Ladies on it too.
it didn't sing as much music.
No, it's nothing to do with music. What are you talking about?
God, what the hell are those things called? I really want to remember now.
So this
That's how
belly
much
went a
they
lot
stuck
faster.
around. You know, it took about half the time, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say.
In general.
It's good.
Did we get everything else actually done? I wasn't paying attention.
I think so. Actually, no, wait. That was plowing this field, so it's going to be planted over here. Right here.
But everything, as it
Everything
gets
else is
planted, is now fertilized, though, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god. What a wonderful thing. Oh, except for this field.
Which I already did fertilize this one.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. No, it's fertilized it either. Move this guy up to the side. This tractor just started going really slow.
It's getting real old.
This guy is lined up and ready. That guy's done.
Yeah, we just got to plant this this corn, this little tiny field of corn here, and then we are ready to make it another day. I guess we're out of time for this day, either way.
Yep. Well, we made some progress, though.
We did. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right. See you.